Shop the Sherwin-Williams Labor Day sale and get 35% off paints and stains August 22nd through September 4th. With prices starting at $31.84, it's the perfect time to transform your space with color. Whether you're looking to revamp your interior or exterior, we have you covered with bold hues, soothing neutrals, and everything in between. Visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store or shop the sale online. Delivery available on qualifying orders. Click the banner to learn more. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Six Man Podcast. I'm your host, Phil Dunn. Thanks for tuning in today. We have a great guest, Dan Porcic. Dan has a lot of insight on college basketball. He has experience at every level. He played Division II as well as Division III, and then he was a graduate assistant at SMU in the ACC for 2 years. Again, I just want to thank everybody for all the support so far. It's been great getting a lot of good feedback. If you could, please follow on Instagram at the Sixth Man Podcast. Follow, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to the show. Thanks again for all the support. And with that, let's get to the interview with Dan. All right, I'm here with Dan Porcic. Dan, what's going on, man? Thanks for coming on.
What's going on, man? Appreciate you having me.
Of course. So to start, I just want to ask about like your beginnings in basketball, how you first started playing, what age you started playing at, and who first put the ball in your hands.
Yeah, no, absolutely. First started playing, I'd say around 4, like for fun in the backyard. That was definitely my brother. So he was the one that put the ball in my hands, and we would, go at it in the backyard. Big brother, little brother battles, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started at a young age. But mostly mostly we were into soccer for the most part. My parents came from Bosnia, and big soccer country, right? So we kind of got into soccer at a younger age, really played that more so than basketball. But we always had that love for basketball, me and my brother. So that's why, it might upset my dad a little bit at first, but that's when it started.
Do you think there's like anything that you learned playing soccer as a kid that like translates to basketball? Because I feel like that's like the case with a lot of guys, especially like the foreign guys in the NBA right now. Like I think like Embiid was a soccer player growing up until he first got into basketball. So you think there's any like crossover there?
I think so. Maybe not for me because typically like if you play soccer, you got good footwork, right? Well, I was like Bambi on ice growing up, so it wasn't great for me. But if you look at Embiid, for instance, like you see his footwork in the post, right? Like up and unders, all that type of thing. So like I think it does correlate in terms of footwork and finesse, things like that. Obviously, conditioning too.
Yeah, for sure. So what was like your experience growing up, like playing like youth basketball and stuff like that? Like I know you played at Putnam Science for high school, but like before that, did you ever play like public high school, or like what was your experience for youth basketball?
Yeah. I went to public school through elementary up to my first 2 years of high school, so I was all public school for that time. A lot of like rec, like we come from a small town, so like Putnam's a very small town. Rec basketball, you play rec basketball, and then you play with the local AAU team. And that was fun. Like I met a lot of fun people through that. Like I met some of my best friends through AAU basketball, and it was good. Like I knew once I started playing AAU basketball, that's when I really wanted to take basketball serious, which was around 6th grade. And I think it was good, but the competition I feel like wasn't enough for me to be where I wanted to be in terms of youth basketball in Northeast Connecticut, and that's part of the reason why I did transfer to Putnam Science. So, but the public school aspect for the first 2 years of high school was fun. I was able to really work on my game and kind of be the man the first 2 years. Freshman year, come in, be a freshman. Had to earn my role and everything. But as it translated into late freshman year, into sophomore year, I think that's when I really started, kind of try to take over games and just work on other stuff besides catching and shooting,
So you end up at Putnam Science. What was your experience like at Putnam? Like I know that you guys were loaded when you were there. Like most of your team went Division I, right?
Yeah, everyone on that especially that 2018 team, everyone but me went Division One. I was the only Division Two guy, so we're loaded.
So yeah, so what was your experience like? What was like the environment like every day when you're playing with so many high level guys every day?
Man, it was good. Like it's a college atmosphere and a college schedule, right? So like preseason, you got 6 a.m. workouts. You go
Yeah,
to breakfast and then you go to class all day, and they're class checking you, making sure you're in class. That's what they do in college. And
yeah,
then right after you're done with school, oh, we got another workout. We got a 2 hour workout of a little bit of skills, and then you play pickup for an hour and a half, 2 hours in front of every coach you can picture, like Jim Boeheim,
yeah.
Calipari, like all those guys are showing up to these open gyms, and they're just watching you. And you could be paired up with Hamidou Diallo one day, and another day you're paired up with a third team guy. Like it's random every day, but you're getting paired up with like high level guys. But the atmosphere is great. Like Coach Espinoza and Coach Graber do a phenomenal job, like creating that atmosphere and setting a standard for all these players that come through here.
So what was like your recruitment like coming out of Putnam?
So I received my first Division One offer from Hartford, who is actually a Division Three school now. So when they
Yeah,
were D1 at the time, that was my first ever offer. My second year at PSA, I was psyched, like way too happy. I was like, oh man, I'm good. I'm gonna get more offers. Interest came around. Like I was talking to a lot of Ivy schools, Patriot League schools. Like that was my level. I was like at that time considered a low major kid.
yeah.
And then I had a bad summer. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you gotta keep it real. I had a bad summer in my last year of high school. Going into my last year of high school, so it wasn't a good AAU. My AAU experience was not good in
What
terms of
team?
high
What
school.
team did you play for?
I played for a couple teams. So I played for New England Players, who at the time were Adidas. In New England, great. And
Yeah,
then the Adidas scandal happened, right? So I had to get out of that team. Then I went to another team for 2 weeks, Beantown Bulls. Probably no one's ever heard of it, right? Out of Boston. We were also on the Adidas circuit, and then after 2 weeks, program's done. So I'm like, man, it's my last year at AU. I can't even find a team right now. And then I ended up playing with NE6, which I don't even think exists anymore. So if you get the trend, like AU is
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
now.
yeah. Just
But
unfortunate.
yeah, my last team was NE6, is Under Armour circuit, and I enjoyed it. I didn't play well, that's my fault, but I enjoyed the coach there and everyone I met. I played with some good players. Jaden Delaire played at Stanford. Like it was good. I liked it, but I just didn't perform well, and then I ended up missing the whole July with an ankle injury, and then recruitment was slow after that.
Do you think like playing at like such a high level prep, like recruitment was more important on the like AAU scene for you, or like the actual high school prep?
That's a tough question. I'd say I'd say AU would be a little more important. That's why I think I failed in that aspect. Not failed, I wouldn't call it like failing, but I didn't
Yeah,
produce as much as I should have on the AU side of things. At PSA, you get your offers at the open gyms, right? So like that's where I got my first offer. I was playing well on the open gym, like playing great in front of all those coaches, and that's where my recruitment really took off. And that's part of it. Like you could be an open gym type player, but if you can't play in a 5v5 like set match, like forget
yeah,
about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what these kids, even at PSA, but in general, like across the country, need to realize like you could have all the skill you want, right? 1-on-1, this and that, you can shoot, but if you can't play in a 5v5 setting, college coaches will look at him like, man, I don't know if he can
yeah,
fit my team.
yeah. So what made you choose Concordia?
Well, I liked Coach Cav a lot, Coach Cavalier, who was there at the time, who recruited me, and Coach Larry. It was in New York, New York's a cool city, right outside of New York City. Wasn't too far from home, but it was also a full ride for me. So I thought it was a perfect opportunity to prove to everyone, oh, maybe I should have been a division or a low major kid. Like, let me go to Division II, still get a scholarship and get a chance to play and show what I could do, And my freshman year was great there. I mean, I enjoyed it and met a lot of good people throughout my time there, coaches, teammates, professors, all that stuff. So it was a good time, but I thought it was a good choice for me to really showcase for what I can do.
So obviously Concordia shut down while you were there. What was like that whole experience like? Like was it like rumored at all? Like did it catch you off guard? When did you find out? Like how much notice did they give you?
So we heard like some like talk about it going in. So this was my second year there. So after the first semester of my second year, and this is COVID going on too, so it was a mess, right?
Yeah.
You couldn't do nothing. You even sneeze or cough around anybody, they put you in a room. Like, oh, you got to get tested. Or like, it was insane, right? So like, COVID really did ruin my second year of my experience at Concordia. But we heard rumblings, so it's kind of crazy how it all went down. But basically, we heard about it, and then we all get back on campus for second semester, right? We pay our second half or whatever. Kids or students paid their second semester deposit for housing, whatever the case
Yeah.
is. Right after every kid paid, like, by the way, we have some unfortunate news. So I'm like, okay. I see how it's a business strategy. I see what they
Yeah.
did there. But well, I mean, once that happened, I wasn't really surprised, right? Because Division two schools, especially at Concordia, is such a small school where it's mostly athletes, and all these athletes are getting scholarships. So like, how are you getting money? You know what I'm saying? How are you even getting
Yeah.
money to begin with? So they had the option to either go Division three or shut down, and ultimately they made the decision to, shut down and have Iona buy them out.
Do you think if Concordia hadn't shut down, you would have stayed there for all four?
I think so, yeah, because we had a really good team my second year. We had a good freshman class that came in. We had our freshman class that I came in with all still together, right? So you combine those two classes with Coach Cavs, those were his first really real recruiting classes. I think we had a chance to be something really special. Unfortunately, that never happened because, I got along with everyone on that team and we all got along so well. But I mean, everything happens for a reason, they say. I think
Yeah.
everyone that left Concordia after the shutdown ended up in a good spot, did well for themselves. So it is unfortunate, but I definitely think I would have stayed.
So obviously having to leave, what was like the process of trying to find a new school and a new place to play?
It was stressful. It was
Yeah, I
definitely
bet.
stressful because you're just going through the recruiting process again. So and I really only had 1 year of film to show for it because we only played, I
Yeah.
believe, six or seven games that sophomore year. Like it was,
Yeah.
nothing to show for there. So I mean, I had a couple of D2s reach out, you know, Slippery Rock, middle of nowhere. Roberts Wesleyan, also up there, like deep up there
Yeah.
in New York. And I was like, you know what, those could be good options. But then a lot of D3s reached out to me. So I started to think like, I have 2 years left. Do I really want to go somewhere where I might not be happy or there's not a lot of resources outside of basketball, right? So I was like, I really thought about it, and the D3s around, like they were reaching out to me, like if the package was good, I'd consider it, right? So, and that's how I looked at it, and that's typically why I chose Mount St. Vincent because it's also right in the city too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So what was your experience like playing at CMSB? Obviously, you had like a super successful career there individually, like first team all Skyline. What was it like going from Division two to playing at the Division three level, and like what was your overall experience at Mount St. Vincent?
Yeah. Much different from what I was used to playing D3. So like coming from PSA to going to D2, the transition was smooth because we still had 6 a.m. workouts. We had
Yeah.
2 or 3 workouts a day. So like you're on a real schedule. When you're on a scholarship, you're on a like tight schedule. Like you got to do what the coaches say to do. Like you got to be on their schedule. You got to show up in time and things like that. You got to go the extra mile on that type of level. So making that transition to D3 was different. For me, it was good because I always like to just get in the gym. Like me and Dylan, for instance, me and Dylan were trying to get in the gym all the time as much as we could, even if it was
Yeah.
we have to break into the gym, whatever. We're trying our hardest to get in there, no matter what time it is. So it was okay for us, but sometimes being around other teammates who didn't take basketball as seriously, which is okay. Like I get it. Like not every
Yeah.
kid is all like that, you know what I'm saying? And it's okay, but it was an adjustment period for sure for me to go from PSA to D2 to that, where some kids just didn't really care about working on their game or things like that, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Um, so when you leave Mount St. Vincent, did you have any eligibility left? Like what was like your options coming out? Like obviously you went to SMU for 2 years to be a GA, but did you
Mm-hmm.
have any like thoughts about trying to play another year? Did you try to like think about playing pro somewhere or anything like that? What were your options?
I did have another year eligibility, but I didn't really look into it because I just wanted to get my coaching career started, right? So like I had a good 4 years of playing. It was fun, right? But if I had an opportunity to be a GA, which is what I was really trying to pursue right after the season ended,
Yeah.
then that's a free education plus experience and a jump start into your coaching career. Like I love playing basketball, but I knew I was done by senior year. I was like, I've played my whole life. I've had enough. Like, let me start getting into that coaching side of the world. So didn't really look into playing at all, honestly. Like it kind of crossed my mind here and there, but I never looked for a fifth year or overseas thing. Never.
So how did the opportunity to SMU come about?
PSA helped me out.
Really?
PSA helped me out. Yeah. So I mean, they treat me like family. I completely like I'm always going to be grateful for them. But
Yeah.
they initially I was set to go to VCU and join their staff as a GA, and then that whole staff got the Penn State job. This was 2 years back. So they all got the Penn State job. No GA opportunity at Penn State. Cool. So one of the assistants at VCU reached out to SMU. He reached out to Coach Kreider, who I was in contact with the whole time throughout the whole process. So the whole process, I want to say, took about maybe a month and a half to get that job, right? In terms of phone calls, a couple of Zoom interviews, making sure I can even get accepted into SMU, things like that. But it all started with PSA, and that's, they have all the connections in the world when, in terms of college coaches, NBA scouts, they're tied in everywhere. So for that is, they helped me a lot there.
Yeah, for sure. So what was your experience like at SMU? Like talk a little bit about like being a GA and like what it entails like actually being a GA.
Yeah, it's a grind, man. It's a grind. Definitely loved it though. I my first year, well, I had two different staffs. So my first year, I was under Coach Lanier, and he was all about like getting in the gym, like work on your game, get extra shots up. So my first summer there, I really got to experience that. Like I thought I was in the gym a lot. Man, like no. These
Yeah.
kids really like needed to get in the gym, and he made sure they got in the gym. He would come back in the afternoon and watch, make sure everyone's in the gym doing what they're supposed to do. But a lot of work on the court my first year, like working guys out 6 a.m., right? So like say we had practice at 7:30. Some kids would hit me up, hey, can we get a workout in? Yeah, okay, let's do it. And then summertime, just straight on the court. Like everything's on the court. You'll have a little side projects here and there. It all depends on the coach, of course.
Yeah.
But then when the season came around, you would work them out before practice if they asked you to. Most of the time, I had one player, Sam Williamson, who's playing overseas now. I worked him out every morning and just trying to work on his game and things like that. So like I had the opportunity to work with him, and I'm grateful that he kept asking me. But when the season came around, you would do a lot of scouts. So like for a GA, you're doing a lot of film as well. So it's called sports code. Like everyone in college is familiar with it now. So a lot of coding and a lot of scouts. That's what I did during the season as well as get on the court. But more so once the season starts, that's when you're really locked into the film room. And then with Enfield, Coach Enfield, my second year at SMU, so they came from USC, very similar, but more film and more analytical based. So that's what I really honed in on my second year, and it was good to see that side of things. Like we had a chief strategist guy like Zach Chu, right? He came from the Indiana Pacers, so he really gave us a lot of projects to work on in terms of analytical stuff and more film and more coding. So I got to see that side of things even more with Coach Enfield and his staff.
What was the transition like for you going from like being a player to now being on the coaching side of it? Like, was it hard at first? Like, did you ever have like an itch to play at all, or was it like you say you wanted to jumpstart your coaching career? So like, was it easy? Was it hard? What was it like?
I think it was pretty smooth. Like, yeah, I do miss playing. Like, I miss it every day, right? I miss the competitive aspect of it, right? But
Yeah.
now, when you're on the sideline, you're like coaching, right? So it's a different type of competitive. Like, it's more. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I get more angry and more into it now. I think as a coach
Yeah.
than I did as a player, which I regret. Like, I wish I had this energy and this, this kind of, attitude when I was playing a little more. Probably would have made me a little better, but that's how I see it now as coaching. But I would still have to hop in as scouts too. So like both years
Okay.
under both
Yeah.
staffs, they made me play on the scout team. So that's when I could try to get my shots off. So I got some clips of that still. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Was it ever hard for you like trying to like get respect from the players at SMU? Like obviously being so young and close to their age, like there was probably some guys that were even older than you that were on the team. Like was that a struggle at all?
I wouldn't say so, no, because you got to think of it like this: like these players are also human, right? So
Yeah.
they they're still kids deep down. Like, yeah, they're older and in college. Some of them might be 22, 23, but they still gotta like some children in them, right? You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying? So like you just got to be cool with them. Like as a GA, you got to have a balance of being like close with your players, but close with the coaches as well, right? So you got to have that in between and that balance. But I was close with all the players, man. I mean, I had no trouble getting respect from them, but that's just because if you show respect to them and you know just joke around with them sometimes outside of the locker room and hang out with them in the locker room, play some 2K, things like that. If you do stuff with players like that as a GA, then that's how you really gain their respect quick. But all the kids that we were with these past 2 years, man, like super grateful to be with them. Like they're great kids. Everyone was great kids, worked hard, so
Yeah.
it made our lives easier.
Plus, when like you're putting the work in, like you were saying, like working guys out at 6:30 in the morning, like they see the work that you're putting in, so I'm sure it's easy for them to respect you at that point.
Yeah, and I
Um,
mean it's good to have that. Like GAs need to be available for that, right? I mean,
yeah.
it's a grind. So, and that was all the GAs I was with. We were in the gym as much as we could have been.
So obviously you talked about it a little bit with like going from Concordia to Mount St. Vincent, but what do you think like level to level was the biggest difference you saw between like because you have experience at every level obviously, so like what was your biggest difference you saw between like Division 1 to Division 2, Division 2 to Division 3? Whether it be like the actual players themselves or just like the structure of how it's
Yeah,
organized.
yeah. So obviously, I touched a little bit on that organization part, but like I said, you got set workouts. You can't be late to them, right? You got a set schedule. Everything's like mandatory, obviously. So that's the Division 1, Division 2 level, and obviously PSA as well. But I say if we're just talking about strictly basketball, like the game itself, I'd say the athleticism is clearly the biggest thing I noticed. So like Division 3, right? Like I was able to go by some of these guys that I'm not going by at a D1 or D2 level.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like the athleticism is the biggest thing, obviously, and obviously the height. So like now you see big guards, right? So we played Duke last year. No one in their lineup was under 6'6", right? So
yeah,
like you go to the D2, D3 level, your point guards like might be 5'8", 5'9", and
yeah,
that's also the biggest thing. Like we had a point guard last year though, Boopy Miller, and he was about 5'10", 5'9", 5'10". But if you're gonna be that height at the Division 1 level, you gotta be quick. You gotta be able to pass, shoot, and do it all. And like he could, and you gotta guard. So that's
yeah.
the biggest thing. You got to be able to guard. So I think athleticism, guarding, height differential, those are the biggest things I saw in those three levels.
So the kid that I had on last week, Kevin Stein, like he played Division 2, but he started at like a good JUCO, and he said like the biggest difference he saw was the bigs, like kind of like what you said about the height. Like the bigs he was playing in JUCO were like 6'5", 6'6", like they were good athletes. But then when
Mm-hmm.
he got to D2, he was playing like 6'10", 6'11" bigs,
Yeah.
um, which I'm sure is similar to what you saw too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
so what are some of your future plans or goals in basketball? You have anything lined up for next year? Obviously, you mentioned like you wanted to get into coaching and start a coaching career. What do you envision yourself doing?
Yeah. Yeah. So it hasn't been announced yet, but I guess we can announce it here. I'm actually at Putnam Science Academy. I'm back at Putnam Science Academy.
Nice.
Yep. So I'm going to be an assistant here with the prep team, and then I'm working also in the admissions office, getting a little bit of the adobo side of things, recruiting
Yeah.
and sending out paperwork, all that stuff, making sure everything's organized. So yeah, no, I joined last week, and already got me working hard here, but I love it so far. So, and I just can't wait to get the season started.
That's probably super full circle for you. Obviously, like being from Putnam and like playing there and stuff. It's probably like super rewarding and stuff. Would you like long term, like say 5, 10 years from now, what would some of your goals be? Like, do you want to coach like high school prep? Do you want to like become a college coach? Obviously,
Yeah,
like it's a grind and it's all about like connections and starting at the bottom. But where do you see yourself in 5 to 10 years in coaching?
it's so unpredictable. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? One, like I'm not trying to be too picky the next 5 years at least. You know what I'm saying? So like Obviously, with Putnam Science Academy, this is a great stepping stone. We have so many assistant coaches that rolled through here that are at great schools now. Like we have a St. Bonnie's assistant, we have um, Oklahoma State now. Like we have coaches everywhere. We have a coach at BU, we have a coach at Hofstra. Like, and these are all guys that rolled through Putnam Science Academy. So I think my short-term 5-year goal is to get a Division I job, right? Whether that's video coordinator, player development, Dobo, get some full-time D1 experience. And then from there, try to move up. Obviously, the ultimate goal is to be a head coach, right? I want to have my own team, my own program, implement my own things. Now, at what level that is, we'll see, right? It's all about what opportunity opens up. I've always spoke with my brother about being a D3 head coach, right? At the men's level, because you got stability. You got your own program, right? And you're doing most of the work. You have assistants. If you have good assistants, right, you'll have a good program as well. But you're doing a lot of the work, right? I really think it's just whatever opportunity comes available. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, I would love to be a D1 head coach. And if I can work towards it and my trajectory the next 5 years is good for that. So I'll continue to shoot for that. But it's you just got to go with the flow in basketball. Like you got to just work your ass off and make your connections as much as you can, and then see what happens out of that.
Your brother's a coach, right?
Yeah, he's actually the head coach at Johnson and Wales Division III school for women's side. So that's another little motivation. Like I look up to my brother a lot. So seeing him coach, having his own program is fun. And they're very good. They were really good this past year. So now that makes me even want to get my own program even more, just to match with him.
You mentioned you look up to him. Like, has he been like a good resource for you? Like, do you ever like pick his brain about coaching stuff? Obviously, he's been doing it a little bit longer than you.
Absolutely, yeah. And it doesn't matter that he's on the women's side. They both translate.
Yeah.
It's both coaching, right? So I ask him all the time for advice or what do you think about this? We share our own little Google file, or there's like 200 plays in there, and we just put plays in there every week, like for us to have. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how we try to bounce ideas around all the time with each other, because my brother's very smart. I'm not saying it just because of my brother, but he knows a lot about basketball. He doesn't give himself enough credit. So hoping they'll be able to be seen, at least in New England soon.
Yeah. So last question I have for you. If you could go back in time and give your younger self advice in terms of basketball, what would it be?
I'd say the biggest thing is hit the weight room more.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. Yeah.
Man, I was so worried about you're gonna shoot if you're gonna mess up your shot if you lift too much or whatever. I'm like, man, these people might be right. I just wish I lifted way more. It was just a little more physical, but and then also have that drive or that attitude, like where I get heated or into it. Like I get into it and heated as a coach now. I wish I had that more as a player. That kind of like killer instinct,
Yeah.
I never had it. Not sure why. I mean, the most I had it was probably junior year when I had a good year. That's when I kind of had it. It all has to do with confidence, but yeah, I'd say those two things, and then probably watch more film. I didn't watch enough film growing up. I tell kids now all the time, like if you have access to any type of film, watch film, whether it's yourself or just NBA guys. If you're a point guard, just watch Chris Paul or watch Tyrese. Like just read ball screens. Like that's something I really wish I did more growing up. Like just watch more film.
All right, Dan. Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate your insight about stuff, and thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me.
Thanks again to Dan for coming on. Thank you guys for tuning in and listening, continuing to support the show. Again, if you could please follow, rate, all that good stuff on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, as well as follow on Instagram at the Six Man Podcast. Would love to keep growing and expanding the show, talking to more people, letting people share their journeys in basketball. Had a great time with it so far. So again, thanks again so much for your support. We'll be back next week.